dear students, welcome to the 8th session on the chapter Valuation of Shares. Here in this session, we are going to take up the last 3 questions wherein we are going to calculate the value of shares under fair value method. So let us take up the first question now. Mr. Ramnath intends to invest rupees 66,000 in the equity shares of a limited company and seeks your advice as to the maximum number of shares he can expect to acquire based on intrinsic value, based on market value and based on fair value of the share determined by you. The following information is available. Under the issued and paid up capital, they have given 6% preference shares of rupees 100 each 11 lakh, then equity shares of rupees 10 each 7 lakh. So total capital is 18 lakh. Average net profit of the business after tax and transfer to reserve is rupees 1,50,000. Expected normal yield is 8% in case of such equity shares. It is observed that net assets are revalued and net assets on revaluation are worth rupees 1,40,000 more than the amount which they are stated in the books. Goodwill is worth rupees 84,000. So this is the question given here. The requirement is to calculate. So here there is one Mr. Ramnath who wants to invest 66,000 in the equity shares of a limited company, and he wants to know what is the number of shares he can acquire based on intrinsic value. For example, if the intrinsic value per share you get as 20 rupees, so you are going to calculate what is the maximum number of shares he can get by investing 66,000. So the number of shares he can get is equal to amount available for investment 66,000 divided by intrinsic value. So you will get some answer. So that is the maximum number of share which he can acquire by investing 66,000 rupees. Similarly, based on market value we have to calculate, and based on fair value also. So in order to calculate these, what is the maximum number of shares he can get under all these 3 methods, we need to first calculate what is the intrinsic value, what is the market value and what is the fair value of this company share. Okay. So now coming to the first calculation, that is calculation of intrinsic value. The formula we use here is intrinsic value is equal to net assets available for equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. As you know that this method is based on the assets and liabilities. Only these are the 2 informations given which appear on the liability side of the balance sheet. They have not given any item which is appearing on the asset side of the balance sheet. So here, just like the previous questions, we are going to assume that the total of the liability side is equal to total of the asset side, and that will be equal to the book value of all realizable assets. And one more thing, here they have not given any information regarding the fictitious assets, for example preliminary expenses or discount on issue of shares or debentures, nothing like that is given. So whatever the total of asset side you get, that itself can be considered as the book value of all realizable asset, and it does not include any fictitious asset. That can be the assumption which we can make here. So now here, coming to the liability side, we have only 2 items, preference share capital and equity share capital. So if you assume the balance sheet, on the liability side only 2 items and total of that has come to 18 lakh. The same is going to be the total of asset side also, which is 18 lakh. So the book value of all realizable assets, now it has come to 18 lakh. Then what is the other adjustment required here? For this we have to add profit on revaluation. It is given that they have revalued the assets of the assets which are shown in the balance sheet, and net assets on revaluation are worth rupees 1,40,000 more when compared to the value which they are stated in the books of account. Nothing but there is revaluation profit, there is an increase in the value of those assets, so we have to add. Okay, so 18 lakh is the book value, for that we are going to add 1,40,000 profit on revaluation. Again we have to also add goodwill, value of goodwill. Okay, so these are the 3 items which we have to add in order to calculate gross market value of various assets. So let's see how to calculate that. Total assets, as I said, which is equal to the liability side 18 lakh, add appreciation in the value of assets on revaluation 1,40,000, add the value of goodwill, you get 20,24,000. From this actually we are going to deduct the external liabilities, but on the liability side we have only preference share capital and equity share capital. We do not have any external liabilities, so it is nil. So we will have balance which is 20 lakh 24,000. This balance is called net asset available for all types of shareholders. From this we are going to deduct the amount payable to the preference shareholders. Here it is their capital. What is the percentage? 6% preference share capital, amount is 11 lakh. When you deduct that, you will have balance of 9 lakh 24,000. So here it is called net asset available for equity shareholders. In the next line, we are going to apply the formula to calculate intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is equal to net asset available for equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So here the equity share capital here is 7 lakh divided by face value of one share is 10. So number of shares is 70,000. Okay, so when you divide it by 70,000, you get rupees 13.2 per share as the intrinsic value. Now we can calculate on the basis of intrinsic value what is the maximum number of share Mr. Ramnath can get by investing 66,000. So what is the formula we are going to use here? Total amount available for investment divided by intrinsic value of the share. Total amount as it is given in the question, it is 66,000 divided by per share intrinsic value is 13.2. So you get the answer 5,000 shares. So by investing 66,000 rupees in that particular company, he would be able to buy 5,000 shares. Okay, this is based on intrinsic value. Then we have to calculate what is the market value. As you know that market value is calculated in 3 steps. First we are going to calculate what is the surplus profit available for equity shareholders for dividend, and the second step we are going to calculate what is the expected rate of dividend, and in the third step we are going to calculate market value of the share. So here they have given average net profit of the business after tax and after transfer to reserve. Usually you have seen in the previous question, we used to write what is the profit before tax. From that we used to deduct the taxation. Again from that profit after taxation, we used to transfer certain portion of the profit to the general reserve. But here average net profit is after tax and after transfer to reserve. So you can skip those 2 steps. Directly we have to deduct the preference dividend in this case. So let's see how to calculate that. Calculation of surplus profit available for dividend to equity shareholders. Average net profit after tax and after transfer, it is 1,50,000 less preference dividend. You have to calculate 6% on 11 lakh. So that is the preference dividend, which comes to 66,000. The balance will be 84,000, which is called surplus profit available for dividend to equity shareholders. Then in the second step we are going to calculate expected rate of dividend. Expected rate of dividend is equal to surplus profit divided by total paid up equity share capital into 100. 84,000 divided by their capital is 7 lakh into 100, we get 12%. Okay, then the market value of the share is equal to expected rate of dividend is 12 divided by what is the normal yield they have given, 8%. Okay, you have to divide it by 8 into paid up value per share. Face value is also 10, paid up value is also 10. So you have to multiply it by 10. You get rupees 15 per share as the market value. Now let us calculate what is the maximum number of shares he can buy on the basis of market value, which is equal to amount available for investment 66,000 divided by market value per share is 15. You get the answer 4,400 shares. Okay, then based on fair value is the simple average between intrinsic value and market value. So 13.2 plus 15 divided by 2, you get 14.1 per share. Okay, this is the fair value, and on the basis of this 66,000 rupees divided by 14.1, you get 46,080.56 something like that you get. So you cannot write in fraction, so it should be whole number. So we are taking it as 4,681 shares approximately. Okay, so this is how we have to calculate the maximum number of shares one can purchase by investing certain sum of money. Okay, we have to calculate what is the intrinsic value, then the market value, and then the fair value, and at the same time we have to calculate what is the maximum number of shares one can buy. Okay, this is the first question. Then let's take up the second question, similar one. Mr. Agarwal, who desires to invest rupees 33,000 in the equity shares in a public limited company, seeks your advice as to the fair value of the share. So here we have to calculate the fair value, and he wants to invest 33,000 and wants to know what is the maximum number of shares he can buy only on the basis of fair value. The following information is made available Paid up share capital is 14% preference shares of rupees 100 each 5,50,000. Equity shares of rupees 100 each 8,50,000. Total has come to 14 lakh. Average net profit of the business is 3 lakh. Expected normal yield is 20% in case of such equity shares. It is observed that net tangible assets on revaluation are worth rupees 1 lakh more than the amount at which they are stated in the books. Goodwill is to be valued at 3 years purchase of super profits if any. Give out the working notes of the fair value of the equity shares and determine the number of shares which Mr. Agarwal should purchase. Ignore taxation. So here, as it is given, we have to calculate the maximum number of shares he can buy by investing 33,000 based on fair value. So as you know that fair value is a simple average between intrinsic value and market value. So first we are going to calculate what is the intrinsic value of the share, and then we are going to calculate what is the market value, and then in the third step what is the fair value, and the fourth step will be the main answer. We are going to calculate what is the maximum number of shares he can buy by investing 33,000. But now coming to the first one, that is intrinsic value, they have stated, again it is similar to the previous question. They have given only two items which appear on the liability side of the balance sheet. They have not given anything about the asset side. So the total of liability side itself is the total of asset side, and it is that itself is the book value of all realizable asset, as the fictitious assets are not given. So what is the total of liability side here? 14 lakh. Okay, same is going to be the total of asset side, nothing but total book value of all realizable assets. And for that we are going to add this appreciation on revaluation 1 lakh rupees. But coming to goodwill, in the previous question the goodwill value 84,000, it was directly given in the question. But for this question we have to calculate the goodwill at 3 years purchase of the super profits if any. We have to find out whether this company has goodwill based on purchase of 3 years purchase of super profit method. I hope you remember all the steps we follow under super profit method to calculate the value of shares, value of goodwill. So first we are going to calculate what is the capital employed in the business at the end of the year. Second step we are going to calculate what is the average capital employed. Third step, normal rate of return, which is calculated at normal rate of rate on the average capital employed. And the fourth step we are going to calculate what is the average annual profit. Fifth step, super profit, and the sixth step, value of goodwill is equal to super profit into certain number of years of purchase. Here in this case it is 3 years. So now we have to show all these 6 steps in the working note. That is only for calculating the value of goodwill. The main calculation is different, that is fair value. Okay, now let's show the working note with regard to calculation of goodwill under super profit method. So same note I have written, as the balance sheet asset side information is not given, total of liability side itself is taken as asset side. So total of liability side they have given 14% preference share capital and equity shares. So together it has come to 14 lakh. Now when you are going to calculate the capital employed in the business also, you are going to follow the same method. Book value of all realizable asset 14 lakh. For that profit on revaluation should be added. You get gross market value of all assets 15 lakh less external liabilities. You get answer, external liabilities are not there, so you get the same answer 15 lakh. So this is the capital employed in the business at the end of the year. From this we are going to from here we are going to move on to the second step, that is average capital employed, which is equal to capital employed minus half of the current year's profit. If the current year's profit is not given, you can take half of the average net profit. So here in this case it was given that the average net profit is 3 lakh. We are going to take half of that, which is 1,50,000. You are deducting it from capital employed at the end of the year. You get the average capital employed as 13,50,000. Normal rate of return 20% is calculated on average capital employed, which comes to 2,70,000. The average net profit as given in the question, it is 3 lakh. Then super profit is the difference between average net profit minus normal return. 3 lakh minus 2,70,000, which comes to 30,000. Goodwill is equal to super profit into number of years of purchase, which is 90,000. So this is the working note. Now we are going to take up the first main calculation, that is intrinsic value of the share. Book value of the realizable asset, as we just now discussed, it is 14 lakh, which is equal to liability side total. Add profit on revaluation, which is given in the question, 1 lakh rupees. Then you're going to add the value of goodwill which you have calculated here in the working note, that is 90,000. So gross market value of all asset now it has come to 15 lakh 90,000 less external liabilities, they are not there. So the difference is 15 lakh 90,000, which is termed as net asset available for all types of shareholders. From this we are going to deduct the amount payable to the preference shareholders. Here only their capital has to be written, which is 5 lakh 50,000. You have a balance of 10 lakh 40,000, which is called net asset available for equity shareholders. Then the intrinsic value is equal to net asset available for equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. 10 lakh 40,000 divided by, so let's see what is the number of equity shares given here. So it is 8 lakh 50,000 capital divided by face value of 1 share is 100. So we get it as 8,500 number of shares. So the answer here would be intrinsic value is equal to 122.35 per share. Similarly, we are going to calculate what is the market value, surplus profit available for equity shareholders. In this question, they have not given anything like average net profit after tax. Let me show you. Simply they have given average net profit of the business 3 lakh and they have asked us to ignore the taxation, but you cannot ignore transferring to general reserve. As I said in one of the questions, you have to assume any percentage between 10 to 20, better to assume 10%. So we are going to deduct here 10% which is transferred to the general reserve. We will have balance of 2,70,000 which is called surplus profit available for all types of shareholders. From this we are going to deduct the preference dividend. It should be calculated on their capital 5,50,000 into 14% which comes to 77,000. You will have balance of 1,93,000 which is called surplus profit available for equity shareholders. Now let's calculate what is the expected rate of dividend, which is equal to surplus profit available for equity shareholders divided by total paid up equity share capital into 100. 1,93,000 divided by paid up capital is 8,50,000 into 100 which comes to 22.71%. Then the market value of the share here would be is equal to expected rate divided by normal rate into paid up value per share. So expected rate is 22.71 divided by normal rate as given in the question, it is 20% into paid up value per share is 100. So you get the market value to be 113.55 per share. Then let's calculate what is the fair value is equal to intrinsic value plus market value divided by 2. 122.35 plus 113.55 divided by 2, you get 117.95 per share. And then the main calculation here is, therefore the number of shares Mr. Eknath is expected to buy in that particular company by investing 33,000 rupees is equal to amount available for investment divided by fair value of the shares. 33,000 divided by 117.95 which is equal to 279 shares. Okay. So this is the solution for the second question. Now let us take up the third question. Mr. Divakar holds 5,000 equity shares in Hindustan Limited. The paid up capital of which is 30,000 equity shares of ₹1 each. It is ascertained that the normal annual net profit of such company is ₹5,000. Normal return for the type of business carried out by the company is 8%. Mr. Divakar requires you to value his shareholding based upon above figure. Now, this question is slightly different from previous two questions because he does not want to make investment now. He has already made investment and he is holding 5,000 equity shares in Hindustan Limited. So he wants to now know what is the value of his shareholding based on the above figures, based on the value of share you calculate on the basis of the information given in this question. They have given us about the average net profit and the normal rate of return and the total paid up capital which we can calculate. Only these informations given. Whether we can calculate intrinsic value in this case? No, because they have not given asset side or liability side information. Then we have to calculate which one? Market value of the share. So here let's see how to calculate the market value in all the three steps. Then we are going to calculate what is the value of his shareholding, that is what is the value of those 5,000 shares now in the Hindustan Limited. Okay. Now calculation of market value of the share. For coming to the first calculation of surplus profit available for equity shareholders. Here they have given average net profit for that particular company is 5,000 and they have not given like anything regarding the taxation, but we have to transfer something to the reserve. So we have to transfer 10%, assuming that it is 10%. So let us calculate 10% on 5,000, which comes to 500. The balance is 4,500, which is called surplus profit available for equity shareholders. Here there are no preference shares. Okay, whatever the balance here you get, that itself is the surplus profit available for equity shareholders. Then in the second step, calculation of expected rate of dividend, surplus profit available divided by total paid up equity share capital into 100. Surplus profit here is 4,500 divided by total paid up capital, 30,000 shares into rupee 1. It comes to 30,000 into 100, okay, which comes to 15%. Then the market value of the share is equal to expected rate of dividend divided by normal rate of dividend into paid up value of each equity share. So expected rate, as you just now calculated, 15 divided by normal rate as given in the question, it is 8, into paid up value per equity share. It is of the face value 1 and they have collected 1 rupee. So you have to multiply 1. So it comes to 1.875 per share. So in this case, market value of the share is 1.875. Now based on this, we have to calculate what is the value of holding this 5,000 in Hindustan Limited. So what is the formula we are going to use here? Value of holding is equal to number of shares held by him into market value. What is the number of shares he is holding? 5,000 into 1.875, which comes to 9,375. Okay, so this is how we have to calculate the shareholding based on market value. So now I'm going to wind up this session. In the next session, I'm going to start with the new chapter, that is final accounts of companies. Okay, so you please go through all the questions. If you have any doubt, you can contact me. Thank you for watching.